It's those, what is it called? Tunasahau inaitwaje. Nasahau inaitwaje hiyo kitu. The year is 1994, and Subaru adds some plastic cladding and ride height to the second generation legacy wagon, which in turn becomes the savior of the Subaru brand in most markets, as it created something that was not only good, but essentially introduced the crossover wagon to the mainstream. Today we have the 5th generation Subaru Outback. The 5th/6th gen Outback became a freestanding model line of its own, independent of the legacy, bringing greater product differentiation between the two. Subaru links the exterior styling evolution as being shaped by the concept of more Outback. This generation Outback is more classified as a crossover SUV, with the body and wheelbase set larger than previous models, plus other technical changes such as the larger 256 horsepower 3.6-litre EZ36 engine push it into this classification. But Subaru has stepped up the Outback's game with even more space, nicer cabin materials, and some tech upgrades. The Outback has, for nearly 20 years, been the way that people like their wagons. More rugged and stanced than a sport wagon, but not nearly as tall and imposing as many of the other large utility vehicles. The 2015 Outback competes in size with the likes of the Volvo XC70, Honda CR-V, and the Toyota RAV4. So yeah, she's definitely a big girl. Outback buyers are the outdoor type, far more likely to venture beyond where the tarmac ends, on the way to safari or climbing mountains, for instance, and with space for up to 5 adults plus gear, assisted by the handy integrated roof rack. The Outback does what many SUVs are intended to do, only with a better ride, more nimble handling, and relatively better fuel efficiency. The 6 key attributes most valued by Outback customers are reliability, utility, driving performance, its cargo capacity, and the all-wheel drive, plus a low-profile look. Well, not here in Kenya though, because the cops use them. So yeah, I'll leave that to your imagination. Starting from the back of the Outback, with this new shape, the 2015 shape, you get a relatively big car compared to the older models like the 99 and the ones that came in the 2000s. So you get your reflectors down low for when you're out in the wild. You get this nicely shaped taillight with your Outback and Subaru nameplate. You get a nice spoiler at the top, not so functional but looks good on the car. And for Subaru boys, sadly, there's no dual exhaust pipes, just one exit here at the bottom. There's only one thing that is not as I would want it to be, is that now, as I have my keys in my pocket, I can't unlock the car when the keys are in my pocket. I have to remove the keys, unlock, then it can open. Not the fastest system, but it does the job. And as I said, don't force the boot to open. You'll spoil the mechanism, and you'd have to go and pay a premium to fix your car. The Outback has a relatively big boot for a small SUV. You get your parcel shelf here at the top, and when you open that, you get to reveal more space that you don't have, especially if your car is not tinted or you don't have privacy glass. That's a good addition to cover up things you don't get to see. It's removable and you have space for it underneath. Underneath you have your spare wheel, which is a full-size spare wheel, but just for temporary use. Plus some other small space to keep small things, also your tools and stuff. Then you can release your seats from the back by just pulling this latch and it drops down. The seats split in a 60-40 manner as usual with most cars. They lie relatively flat with the boot floor, and when you put them down, you have enough space to sleep for 2. Yeah, so let me say, like now if you're going the bundos or something and need space to sleep, or you can't get a hotel, use your car. Put down your seats, lie down, get your rest, pick up in the morning. For the boot is adjustable. You can set it at your height or whatever height you want by just holding this button, pulling it down a bit and holding the button. It will beep twice or once and it will set itself and it will always go to that point. But for this one, probably it's not in the highest point, but I'm about 6 and my head is just touching it a bit. But probably it was put like that for the owner of the car. So let's close the boot and get into the back seat. So getting into the back of the Outback. The door, let's hear that. Nice solid feel. I like that. How do I feel? The seats are leather. That's one thing. So that's one extra good thing to have, especially in a cold day like today. It feels nice on your bum, though it cools it. But on a hot day, I bet you'd regret having leather seats. But they are perforated, so you won't have so much heat being collected around your bum and your legs. Sitting dead straight, I have a lot of head space and knee space. I have a lot of knee space. I'm about 6 foot tall, and being in here, I have more than enough space to get comfortable and just relax. And a good addition is that the back seats recline, so you can get even more comfortable for longer drives. Subaru is really trying with the interiors to make it a cut above and compete with the other manufacturers in the market. So you get this really nice trim here with your aluminum trim at the bottom. You get soft touch material everywhere you're interacting with. The seat backs, even the seat pockets are leather with a soft touch material inside to keep your documents or whatever you have nice and cozy. You get 2 cup holders on your armrest, which is quite a big armrest. I think this is one of the biggest armrests I've seen, that I still have enough space to put my hand and have my drink or whatever I have in here and still be comfortable for the journey. For connectivity, let's say it's nil in this car. There's nothing to connect to. There's no USB, there's no 12-volt socket. It's just you and the nice interior. For climate control, it's all controlled from the front. So at the back, all I have is the choice to close the vent and open the vent. You get 2 child seat anchor points here on the car on both outer seats, and near the doors are quite wide. It's easy to put child seats in here. Getting to the center seat, the drive shaft tunnel is not so big, so I have enough space for my feet. I can put them quite close to each other and still have space for the other guys for their feet and be comfortable for long journeys. For shoulder space, the car is quite wide, so we won't have much shoulder action happening in this car. And being that you can recline the seats and the center seat guy is pushed a bit forward, they get comfortable and you get to be comfortable where you are. Another thing that I'm seeing now, I don't know if it's a trend, but for the center guy, your seatbelt is not down low, it comes from up top, and you pull it from here, bring it around you, and you clip it there. I wonder how this works with children who are smaller and stuff. I bet this thing either catches their neck or their face when they're in this car. But it's quite an interesting thing having it here, having it there, and hopefully does not disturb this other passenger, because I see it coming through near the headrest. So yes, that's the back seat. Let's get to the front seat. Being that the car is a keyless entry vehicle, you can have the keys in your pocket, and when you press this area with the ribbed part, the car automatically locks, and when you put your hand behind it, it automatically senses that your hand is there and it opens up the car. So you lock, and when I try to open it, I don't want to make the sensor go off, so you see, can't open, but I put my hand behind and it opens. Great features, guys, great features. Getting the front is easy again, because you have this really big wide opening and the door goes out really wide, so entry is not that complicated. How do I feel being in this car? It's quite comfortable, really. Your seats are all automatic, so no manual manenos here. You get so many buttons on the steering wheel with your sport intelligence and other things like your call and your receive and call button and other buttons to control the small screen you have on your dash. I like the badging and the whole look of the steering wheel. Really, you get flappy paddles for your shifting up and down. And the great thing about this one is that if you want to overtake and you see an opening, you press the negative once. You don't have to shift to manual mode or anything. Just press it once and the car will shift to the lowest gear possible and give you the chance to get off and take off and overtake the car that you want to overtake or do whatever you want to do. Generally, the interior has improved immensely from the older generation Subaru Outbacks. You get soft touch material everywhere, from your armrest to the dashboard to the doors, everything. And this really nice trim that goes all the way around to the passenger side of the seat. And having the sunroof is just a great benefit, really. And if you don't use it, I feel sorry for you. This car does not come with the eyesight, though. If you're watching this, you have a Subaru with the eyesight, contact me so that I can do a review on that and you can test it. Don't be scared. Up top, you get your sunglasses holder with your lights and your sunroof functions. You get a vanity mirror on both sides of the sun visor. Which is good. It just shows this guy did not chip out on anything really, and generally feels good. For storage, I have on the door pockets, I have space for some drinks and some documents or whatever at the back, which is sizable. You have more storage here at the center that opens up, and you find that the floor is lined in this plastic mat to keep your coins or whatever you have in here not rattling around and making noise. At the center here, I didn't talk about it, but at the center here you get your electric handbrake, your X drive. The X drive is just there for when you're going off-road. If you want the most torque, if you don't want your wheels to slip, and especially if you're going downhills, to let you go downhill on terrains at a controlled speed, where it will just roll down, but it will brake for you in a way. And to your left, you have your heel hold function. This is where if you depress on the brake and you remove your foot, it will hold the car and not let it roll backwards. And the moment you press on the accelerator pedal, it will release and have the car moving forward. So those are things that are just there to help you in your day-to-day lives, especially if you're going out for adventure or whatever. So generally, to say how I feel about it, it's a well thought out car, and Subaru have really outdone themselves in improving the quality that they bring forth in the Outback, especially for a car that you go and beat around in dirt roads, in muddy roads, on back roads and all that. So it's quite a nice place to be while doing all that hooning around in the bundos. Getting into the engine bay of this car is made easy with the assistance of the gas struts, and believe me, you need it because the bonnet is huge and heavy. The Outback retained the same 2.5 litre FB25 engine, plus now the RE 3.6 litre EZ36 engine. Sadly, with the manual option out of the door, all versions of the Outback are now mated to a CVT, Lineatronic Continuously Variable Automatic Transmission, CVT. And I really appreciate the owner's efforts of cleaning up the engine before I did the review. With generous cargo capacity and a roomy interior, the 2015 Subaru Outback wagon is a good option for families, especially families who enjoy occasional outdoor adventures. The Outback pretty much occupies its own niche, while the 2015 Audi All-Road and the 2015 Volvo XC70 are closest in concept. The previous generation Outback wasn't crying out for a redesign. Sure, it wasn't the prettiest face in the segment, though the 2015 model is better looking inside and out, and it remains a car-like alternative to small crossover SUVs. So if you're in the market for a used wagon, then the 2015 Outback is a good option.